Welcome back to another FPL video. This will be the transfer tips for Game Week 10. I'll be covering 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip. Let me know your thoughts on all the players covered today and also about any other players that haven't been discussed. Leave them in the comment section down below. We reached 21,000 subscribers in the deadline stream for UCL Fantasy, so thank you very much for all your support. Our next goal is to get to 22,000 subscribers and to keep on pushing towards new heights and goals. And also a huge shout out goes to the channel members and patrons for supporting the channel even further. And let's get straight into this video. Of course, we have a lot of milestones that we want to reach, but there's also a lot of things to discuss ahead of the Game Week 10 deadline, which is on Friday. There'll be a deadline stream there, and of course, a team selection video coming right up as well. The best wildcard team is already up on the channel. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. The first player covered today is Bukayo Saka. I have discussed him in other videos as well, and he was a hold on both occasions because he constantly had some injury problems, and I kept saying to hold him. He got an assist against Chelsea in his return, played against Sevilla, and he did come off around 70 minutes, but he should be completely fine for the next couple of weeks, assuming he doesn't pick up further knocks and there isn't anything sinister behind the surface. But Bukayo Saka generally plays the vast majority of minutes for Arsenal in all competitions, and he's got some fantastic fixtures coming up. And by the way, one thing I have done is for certain fixtures to update the FDR. So Tottenham away is usually classed as a grey fixture, so kind of 3 out of 5 on the FDR rating, but I have updated that to a 4. So if you do see a few things that look different to the FPL website, that's because I have updated it myself based on what's happened so far this season. But with Bukayo Saka, he's still owned by almost half the game. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists. His XGI is 6.6, some really good sustainable numbers, and he has 58 FPL points. Only Heung-min Son and Salah have more amongst midfielders, and he also has 22 key passes, 18 shots overall, with 14 of them being inside the box. A lot of great stats for Saka. He's got some fantastic fixtures coming up, including 2 home games against 2 newly promoted sides in Sheffield United and Burnley. He is a good captaincy option in Game Weeks 10 and 12, so I think Bukayo Saka is easily a buy. I highlighted Bowen as a buy around Game Week 6 or 7 in the transfer tips video. It was just before he played Sheffield United, and he also scored 2 goals in the last 3 game weeks. He's got 6 goals and 1 assist overall. His ownership is now just under 20%, and back when I discussed him, it was around 9%. So he is becoming a very popular option, especially from Game Week 10 onwards. You look at the next 5 fixtures, and they look absolutely fantastic. Even Brentford away could be classed as a green fixture based on how they've been performing so far this season. And Bowen also has 58 FPL points, tied with Bukayo Saka. He is another great option, and he is someone you really want to go to if you want to cover West Ham offensively. He might even play down the middle, which could be an added bonus. I don't see as a huge advantage, as I discussed in the best wildcard team video as well. He's had 7 big chances so far this season. Not too much creativity, only 5 key passes, but 20 shots inside the box and 26 shots overall. His XG alone is 3.77. So Jarrod Bowen has some great fixtures. You could even possibly captain him in certain games, although I might not go that far myself. I think Jarrod Bowen is the best West Ham asset, period, and definitely a step up above the likes of Kudus and James Ward-Prowse. For last week's edition of the buy, hold, sell and skip, I recorded it before the Robertson injury broke out. He's going to be unavailable for the next 3 months, and Tsimikas should start the vast majority of games, if not all of them entirely. But as I discussed in the deadline stream on Saturday, there is the possibility of Endo playing as the left back or Joe Gomez from time to time. And you saw Tsimikas just about surviving the clean sheet and getting the second appearance point at the weekend against Everton. A pretty average performance at best there in the Merseyside derby. And if he was subbed out just seconds before, that would have been a 1-pointer, and a lot of people would have been put off by Tsimikas, and he might not get the full 90 in a lot of these games coming up. But I still think Tsimikas is a buy if you're looking for a 4.5 million defender or below, and for a little bit more you can go for Gabriel, who I still prefer over Tsimikas. But generally speaking, there should be a few clean sheets in the next 5 game weeks. I would anticipate 2 or 3 for Liverpool, and Tsimikas also has some goal potential and assist threat, but he hasn't really shown it so far this season because he hasn't played that many minutes. So only an expected assist figure of 0.18, and he has 7 FPL points so far this season. So it's a very small sample size, but Tsimikas in the past has done very well when he gets the opportunities and he can get a lot of assists. Maybe the goals isn't going to be something you'll add, but the assist is certainly there. And I think last season he got 4 assists in 9 starts. So let's wait and see what he can do over the next couple of game weeks, but I would anticipate 1 or 2 attacking returns as well, and a lot of returns. Diaby has been very frustrating in the last two game weeks. Aston Villa scored 4 past West Ham and Diaby wasn't involved. And that's always very worrying as an owner because you start to think, well, you want to go for the talismanic figures of certain clubs like Jarrod Bowen for West Ham, Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa. And for those of you that don't have Watkins and are covering him with Diaby, you do have the right to be very worried about that. But Diaby is still a hold for me, especially over the next 3 game weeks. When we start to get to game week 13, when Aston Villa face Tottenham Hotspur away, that's an extremely difficult fixture at this moment in time. And then you've got Bournemouth away, so you could possibly keep him for those games as well. But then afterwards, the fixtures are absolutely awful there. And that's where even Cash, Watkins and Diaby would be sells. But for the time being, I would hold Diaby. A lot of people in the reaction stream were asking me, should I sell Diaby to Douglas Luiz? I don't think it's worth it. I know Douglas Luiz has been in fantastic form, 7 goals in his last 6 home games. He's on penalties, but I would definitely keep Diaby. And I think fixtures like Luton Town, Nottingham Forest and Fulham are ideal for Diaby, and I would expect him to get some returns there in those matches. I'd be very surprised if he ended up blanking in the next 3 game weeks coming up. He's priced at 6.7 million. His ownership is still 13.2%, 2 goals and 4 assists, and his XGI is relatively decent at 3.23, and he has 44 FPL points. So he hasn't been great in the last couple of weeks, but I still think he's a hold in the short term at least. After the next 5 game weeks, that's when I'd be looking to sell, not just Diaby, but all Aston Villa assets. Heung-min Son delivered 14 points against Fulham, and I had a feeling he could get a good return in that match, and then it would make it really difficult to make that move from Son to Saka in Game Week 10. So for me, Heung-min Son is a hold. The only players I would sell Son to are Salah and Bukayo Saka. Not even Jarrod Bowen or any other midfielder you can name would be worth selling Son for, in my opinion. The next 5 fixtures are relatively tough. Crystal Palace away is marked as a green fixture on the fixture difficulty rating, but it can be relatively tough. Spurs have a good record against them though, and Heung-min Son has 7 goals against the Eagles. Chelsea at home could be a pretty decent fixture as well, but then you've got Wolves away, Aston Villa at home and Man City away. So from game week 13, 14 onwards, that's where the fixtures turn for Spurs, and the likes of Son and most of these assets would possibly be sells as well. And when you've got Saka, who is a better option over the next 5 on paper, I still think that switch from Son to Saka is worth it. But if you're not doing that, you've already got Saka, I would definitely be looking to hold Son if possible. His ownership is 35.8%. He's got 7 goals and registered his first assist of the season against Fulham at home. He's got an XGI of 5.44, so very sustainable numbers, and 68 FPL points. Only Mohamed Salah has more in the forward position, and he's also got some other good stats: 6 big chances, 5 big chances created, and 17 key passes. So I think the assists will also rack up over the next couple of weeks, and maybe the goal scoring will die down a little bit, but I think he'll still make a very good option with the assist potential and creativity. A bit similar to the last hold, unless you're selling Darwin Núñez to Haaland, Alvarez or Watkins, I think Núñez is a definite hold, and you ideally would keep him for the next 2 game weeks at least against Nottingham Forest at home and Luton Town away. I think he'll start against Nottingham Forest, and I also think he can get a goal contribution at the very least. I think he'll score in that game. His ownership is 13%. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists, 8 big chances, so that means 0 big chances in the last 2 games against Brighton and Everton, and he has 37 FPL points overall. So he's not the best forward in the world, but if I'm looking at FPL wise, the best forwards in the game, I think the top 3 are Alvarez, Watkins and Haaland, not in particular order by the way. In 4th position, I'd probably give it to Darwin Núñez based on the fixtures, the form which is shown for both club and country. That assist against Everton just showed top quality from Darwin Núñez's perspective as he set up Salah for the 2nd goal. And apart from Man City away, all the other fixtures coming up look fantastic there for Liverpool, and I think Darwin Núñez can do extremely well over the upcoming period. Mbeumo was a hold in the last game when he was facing Burnley at home. I said I'd keep him for that match and then sell him, and I'm going to keep my word here. You look at the next 5 fixtures coming up and they are absolutely awful. The only thing that could possibly save him is you have other fires to put out and also his underlying numbers. He's got 5 goals and 1 assist and an XGI of 7.74. That is incredible for a player priced at 6.7 million and below. His ownership is 20% and he has 54 FPL points so far this season. A few weeks ago, we had Sterling facing Burnley. He did extremely well, and now he's embarking on a difficult fixture run. Now it's Mbeumo, and just like with Sterling, I think Mbeumo is a sell, but if I'm comparing the two, I'd rather keep Mbeumo over Sterling, of course, despite facing Chelsea away, West Ham at home, Liverpool away, and Arsenal at home over the next 4. Afterwards, it is Luton Town at home, which could be a fantastic fixture for Mbeumo and co. And by the way, West Ham at home is one of those fixtures that have been updated on the FDR. It is marked as a green fixture, but I put it as a grey one. Maybe you disagree. Let me know down in the comment section below. But in my opinion, Mbeumo is a sell. Several days ago, Bruno Fernandes went down in price yet again to 8.3 million, despite providing an assist against Sheffield United and getting 2 bonus points in their 2-1 away win. And that's now 3 victories for Man United on the bounce across all competitions. A last-minute penalty save by Onana did save them there at the end against Copenhagen. And Bruno Fernandes is still not a bad option, especially against Fulham away, Luton Town at home, and Everton away. But over the next 5, Man United face Man City at home and Newcastle away, on top of the lack of fluidity and creativity, and the attack just doesn't really function together. They don't interlink very well, despite Bruno Fernandes providing a lot of creation, and he's got 27 key passes so far this season, 2 goals and 2 assists, but I just don't see that many attacking returns because of a lack of chemistry in the forward line, and apart from Bruno Fernandes, I don't think the rest of them are doing their jobs properly. Even Højlund, who has a lot of potential, he's done very well in the Champions League, we'll discuss him very soon as well. Even he hasn't really shown his full potential so far, and apart from Bruno Fernandes, there's no one else really on the wings who can really cause damage to the opposition, either from goal scoring or creativity. He's got 40 FPL points so far this season, and I'd rather keep Bruno Fernandes over Rashford, but for me, most Man United players, if not all, are a sell. Højlund is right up there in terms of top scorers in the Champions League so far this season, but 0 goals and 0 assists in 6 appearances in the Premier League so far. He's priced at 7.2 million. His ownership is 6.4%. I think he can do extremely well against Fulham away, Luton Town at home, and Everton away. Same with Bruno Fernandes. But the reason why I would skip Højlund is because you've got Alvarez, Watkins, who are a cut above, and they also are in Højlund's price bracket, especially in the case of Alvarez, who is even cheaper, by the way. I'd definitely go in that direction. Even Darwin Núñez is a superior option, not to mention the Newcastle forwards, depending on who starts, Isak or Wilson. The only thing Højlund has over those two is that you know he's going to start week in, week out, and he is going to be the main threat every single week for Man United up front. But so far, it hasn't worked out. 6 big chances, and he hasn't scored a single goal, and he's got 11 FPL points. If you look at other stats too, he's got some decent numbers, like an XG of 1.57, considering the minutes are quite limited, and he's only started recently before he was kind of just acclimatizing to the league, coming back from an injury as well. And I think the goals will come eventually, but because of the alternatives you have elsewhere who offer better value and are scoring many more goals, I would rather go for Watkins, Alvarez, and Darwin Núñez. The final player covered today is someone in my own team, and that's James Ward-Prowse. Now, the fixtures coming up are fantastic, and Ward-Prowse is certainly capable of some good returns over the upcoming 5 game weeks, but my issue is if he continues to play in a deeper role, you're really going to be relying on set pieces with James Ward-Prowse, and if you're looking for a West Ham attacker, just go for Jarrod Bowen. It's certainly worth the extra 1 million, 1.1 million now that it is. And look, Ward-Prowse is decent at 6.3 million and below, but you just rather go for Gordon, who's even cheaper than James Ward-Prowse, and his ownership is only 12.6%, 2 goals, 3 assists, an XGI of 4.35, some pretty decent numbers, 39 FPL points overall. If Ward-Prowse suddenly plays in a more advanced role again, then Ward-Prowse actually becomes a buy or a hold instead of a skip. But at this moment in time, if he continues to play in a deeper role, as he has been doing in the last 2 or 3 game weeks, I would completely skip Ward-Prowse and instead go for Jarrod Bowen. So that's it. We've covered 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip. Let me know if you disagree with any of the selections and which other players do you want to see covered in future videos. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's try to get this video to over 200 likes and let's keep on pushing towards 22,000 subscribers and beyond. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the other links in the description below for the Patreon, channel memberships, the Discord server, and the FPL League. I'd highly encourage you to check all of them out, and Draft Hound. I wish you all the best of luck for Game Week 10 and the rest of the season. And I'll see you next time.